There's nothing likable about this couple.
This is pathological narcissism at its worst, Nancy. Exactly. I mean, what we've seen here is just disgusting. And this is why people are so upset and so in arms about this. When you look at her, she comes into the party and she comes back to take pictures because she's that narcissistic. If you look on her Facebook page, if you look at all the photographs that are on the internet about her, you see her posing. You see what she did with Biden, which was atrocious. She puts her hand on his heart. Body language-wise, that's a very, very intimate move. Totally inappropriate.
You know, it's the first thing I noticed when I saw the pictures of her. She has put herself on the people, around the people, very intimately in every single way, even grasping the president's hand with two hands.
Exactly. And this is, again, it's so sociopathic when you really look at what are the signs of a sociopath. One of the things is somebody that doesn't have any remorse. We don't hear an apology. We see manipulation. She was supposed to be on one talk show, and then she canceled to get a better deal. This is manipulation. This is a scary woman, no matter how you look at it, and no matter how beautiful she looks.
And you know, at the end of the day, Andrew and Lillian, these are the people who always take attention away from something that could be dangerous. I resent these people very much. Andrew, Lillian, thank you very much.
In a recent interview, the Salahis said they deserve an apology.
It'd be nice if somebody apologized to us, or somebody would.
I would just like to move forward.
Call it quits.
The White House claims you crashed the party last year. Forgive me, but there have been lots of allegations that you don't pay your bills. Why are you these magnets for controversy?
Misjudged. We're misjudged, and people have been misinformed. And it's only up until recently that we are beginning to set the record straight. Do we owe people money? Sure. Sure. Why do we owe people some money? Because we have sponsors or people that have either bounced checks to us or contracts that they haven't paid their bill.
You're saying to me right now, people haven't paid you what they owe you, and because of that, you aren't paying people who you owe money to.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's a trickle-down effect.
Trying to get to the bottom of all this is like trying to eat soup with a fork.
If you're any kind of a businessman or woman, you find a way to pay your bills.
Real Sports talked to more than 20 former vendors who say they provided services for America's Polo Cup. And they all have one thing in common. They all say the Salahis owe them money. Most didn't want to go on camera. 6 did.
The Salahis owe me slightly more than $20,000 for providing PR services for the 2008 Polo Cup.
$800.
About $2,800.
$25,000.
$1,820.
They owe our company $15,000.
The Salahis say they're caught up in the bad economy like everybody else. But they can explain everything. Start with the audio guy.
He failed to perform. His generator went out. They didn't play the music for the fireworks.
The generators were actually rented by him, not us. I was never asked to, nor given, or provided music to play for fireworks.
How about the PR guy?
Well, that PR firm, Brotman Winter Freed, they lost a videotape that was done of numerous PSAs of the rock band jury.
Except the PR guy went to court and...
We won a judgment for $15,000.
Hey guys, what's the reason?
Hey, love.
What's the reason for the signing?
Well, you know, it's no secret that we have some past due obligations, and you know we've had a tough time making ends meet and paying bills, and we've had a couple of bankruptcies, and you know we need to number one pay off these obligations, financial obligations, and in no way are we getting paid for these pictures, but you know to your firm we pay all that obligation that's owed, and number two, we love the idea that you came up with that it could also help MS, and I thought that was huge. So you know everybody wins. Nice. You know that's get paid, and MS gets to win out of this the biggest. So I think you don't have a better package for that. So and thank you, Steve, for helping MS too.
here's the company that brought in Uncle Sam on stilts and the mime. They say Uncle Sam didn't get paid for 2 days' work.
I didn't even know
I don't
that.
know anything about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a new one to me.
Have to ask our CPA.
Salahi insists it's not his fault, that hiring and paying the entertainment was someone else's department. So what does the guy who provided Uncle Sam and the mime have to say about that?
Right up until the date of the event, the phones worked fine. The fax numbers worked fine. They responded to email promptly. Right after the event, they no longer responded.
As for one of their limo drivers, Salahi says, quote, he did not perform. And the band manager, well, the Salahis say they booked the Gypsy Kings for their polo event, but got the Gypsy Princes.
And I had a judgment against them last July. It's been 1 year, and my lawyer is still busy trying to get that money.
All right, don't come after me all at once. Could all of this be an honest misunderstanding?
No way.
Here's hold on. You're laughing at me like I'm incredibly naive.
Well, there's 6 of us. How could it be an innocent mistake?
These guys just want to be famous. Great, let them be famous. Let them pay their bills, though.
Yeah.
Tariq and Mikkel Salahis' America's Polo Cup calls itself a charitable polo match of grand proportions. But for more than a year now, some groups that were supposed to receive charitable funds from the proceeds have questioned that claim. Now the state of Virginia, through its Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, says it's launching an investigation into the Salahis' fundraising practices.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad that they're going to be investigating, because we knew that there was something shady going on.
Celeste Kenny's Ruritan Club volunteers parked cars for the 2008 Polo Cup. In return, they were supposed to get $2,300 for their charity. They didn't get a dime. Kenny grew increasingly frustrated as she called state agencies and future Polo Cup venues to warn them, but watched as the event continued to pull in money.
I'm glad to see that something's coming out of it, because I think it's just sort of a racket. I think that they're charging all these people money to go to the polo matches, and nothing's, the money's not really being distributed anywhere.
This one-time friend of the Salahis who used to help with the Polo Cup said she started to wonder about the enterprise when vendors claimed they weren't getting paid, and she learned some charities weren't getting money either.
Nobody was being paid, so I thought, well, if it's not going to charity and these people aren't being paid, my God, where's this money going?
And the State Department of Consumer Services may not be the only agency investigating the Salahis. A source there tells News 4 the Virginia Attorney General's office is also looking into the couple's charity. The flap over the White House party crashing has already led several sponsors to pull out of the 2010 America's Polo Cup, slated for the mall in June. And now more bad news for the Salahis. India, whose team was the headliner for the match, has also backed out. The statement from the embassy reads, the Indian embassy has decided to terminate its association with the 2010 America's Polo Cup.
Well, the Salahis were at the USPA World Snow Polo Championships here in Aspen, Colorado last December 2008. And with me to talk about that is Barry Stout, founder and event organizer for the snow polo event. How did you first meet the Salahis? When did you first meet them?
We were short a team last year, and so we allowed them to enter a team, and they came to Aspen.
Were they nice people? Were they sociable? Were they friendly to be around? What was your impression of their personalities?
I think they were pretty nice people. Very, very wanting to please, but at the same time not following through. My first impression was that they weren't doing business correctly. I really felt, actually, probably a month and a half before, we weren't going to get paid, to tell you the truth.
Really?
But we did need the fourth team, and I just thought, well, I would, trust in the pros that brought them, that they were going to pay. And so we went through the weekend, and of course, they didn't pay.
Was there a legal agreement that they had to sign before entering the competition?
They did have a legal agreement, actually. Of course, they slipped out. They owed, I think, $22,000. The entry fee was $25,000.
When did you put two and two together that the couple you had seen at the White House party crashing that was the same couple that had stiffed you thousands and thousands of dollars at your snow polo event?
Well, right away, obviously. When Tariq, tried to pick a fight with me at the St. Regis, you don't soon forget people like that. They had a little party at the St. Regis, and I went to go visit and try to get my check. And we were at the fireplace there, and And I told him, I stood up and I figured, you know, this was going to be my only chance to really get after him a little bit. So I stood up and I said, are you really going to tell me that you got on my horses all weekend long and you're not going to pay me? And he jumped up, and I was walking away. He jumped up, knocked my cowboy hat off, and right as I turned around, he started screaming, security, security! And I knew right then, that was it. So I paid my bill. Of course, they weren't buying anything for anyone, you know.
If the Salahis wanted to re-enter this year, what would you say?
Well, the tournament is invite only, and of course they're not invited back. All the big stars in the world will be here, and they've actually, several of them have called me, making sure that the Salahis are not going to be there.
Well, Tarek Salahi actually played in the event as a snow polo player. How was he as a player? Was he any good?
I really don't want to comment on anything personal about him or his wife. Just because they're in 20-some lawsuits, that probably means if I defame them, they would probably, you know,
bring a lawsuit against
yeah,
you.
they might just go, we don't care that we owe you money, you know?
Thanks, Mikhail. I love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Love you. This is my 2 minutes of fame. I love you.
Tarek and Mikhail are big ballers.
They haven't been paying their bills.
Oh my gosh, we're going to Paris.
Have you all ever seen Mikhail separate from Tarek?
Never.
I haven't at the salon.
The only time is when she was behind the counter at Nordstrom selling me makeup in the 90s before she met him.
And when I met Tarek, he exposed me to a whole different world. You know, I'd go to Paris for the night for dinner. He just wowed me. Wow, this is beautiful. Every little girl wants to be Cinderella or have that fantasy prince, and I definitely have mine.
It's decorated with 8 carats of diamonds throughout.
I was like, wow, is this too good to be true? Wow.
The Salahis say they're caught up in the bad economy like everybody else.
We travel in every day to Washington, D.C. for business, charity events, dinners, meetings. So hotels have been a big part of my life, making it easier. I just like the convenience of it. They've spoiled me. This just makes it the perfect weekend, right? Chocolate, champagne. We've spent a fortune in hotels.
The couple's most current address is in Mosby's Overlook Estates in Front Royal. The Homeowners Association tried to put a lien on the house because the Salahis haven't paid dues since the first year they moved in. More and more skeletons are coming out of the couple's closet as Washington and the White House tried to figure out how they crashed the president's party.